Hello, my name is Piggy, and I'm not very happy. Do you know why I'm not very happy? No, of course you don't. So I'll tell you for why. I'm fed up. Or more to the point, I'm not fed up. In fact, I am absolutely starving. I'm so empty inside, and I'm lonely too. I suppose you're probably thinking it's easy being me. Well, it's not. It's not easy being any of us credit union piggy banks stuck here in this warehouse, in these boxes, on these shelves. It's not as if we can even speak to each other or go out for a nice wallow in the mud. No, we're just stuck here in these boxes. That's better. Young Melody here has kindly rescued me from that dusty shelf, and as a reward, I am more than happy to look after her money for her. She knows that every penny she drops into the slot on my back is in a safe and trusty place. And that's exactly what saving with a credit union is. Safe and trusty. But enough of my grunting. Let's find out more, starting with realising the importance of credit unions and what life would be like if they didn't exist anymore.
We've got 2,600 members or thereabouts, which is something like 2 or 3% of the population of our catchment area. So we were an important financial service for people here. We got £1.4 million worth of member savings in this credit union. We've got 600 or 700 people who have loans with us. We've got over £700,000 out on loans. So if you took us out of the equation and we're making loans to people who would find it difficult getting a loan from the bank, because most banks, for understandable reasons, commercial reasons, would probably not look at a loan and 5,000. I remember a few weeks ago signing a loan for £30. Well, no bank is going to make that to anyone, and we don't want to overlend to people. We want to lend what they want. But those sorts of loans run into hundreds that we do in and around this community. So it's very important that we're here to continue giving that service to people who can't enter the mainstream of financial services.
Well, I would recommend everybody to understand the whole concept of credit unions and the impact of it on any community. You have to think about it. No matter how hard the times are in the credit unions, you have to think about how many people would not go on holidays, how many people would not have their crisis solved if it wasn't for credit unions, and the financial impact on the local community where local money is spent locally.
The importance of the local credit unions in this community, I think, is that we are in the community. We live here ourselves, we work here ourselves, and we know what it's like to live in this area, and we know the issues that normal people face. If we weren't here, this would be a far worse place to live. For some people, we're a lifeline. For other people, we are an added bonus.
We now see the importance of regular saving.
Saving is a habit that's been lost in our communities, isn't it? But my grandparents, they always had the ethos that if they couldn't afford to pay for something, they didn't have it. That saving habit, and that's what it is basically, is a habit and a discipline. That is all gone. So saving is absolutely essential in the community. It's something we are introducing ourselves, and I think we've been very, very successful at introducing it as well.
Well, if people didn't save, then there wouldn't be any money to make loans. So from a credit union point of view, it's very, very important. But the other part of the credit union that people forget about is our ethos of educating members in the wise use of their money. And savings are really, really important for a rainy day or just for that emergency. And also it gives people confidence as well that they know they've got that little bit put aside. So savings are very, very important.
That's the first thing we encourage members to do. Save first of all, and build up a little bit of a nest egg, and then we can lend to them against that savings. It's a form of guarantee for us, and it gives a self-satisfaction to people that for the first time in many lives they've accumulated some capital of their own, and there's an enormous amount of self-esteem in doing that.
For the local community, it's highly important. Many of the people within the community have never had savings behind them in their life, and having somebody who suddenly gets excited about having £100 in savings is important, because they've always got something to fall back on rather than having to have to lend money all the time.
It is vital that credit unions attract more junior members, and this is the reason why.
basically you've got a lost generation of savers where people have no idea what the value of money is or what it's like to save or what it's like to save for something. So the whole idea behind the savings clubs was that the children would actually actively save. They get pass books as well to actually see what's in the books.
When we started, we recognised that we had to sort of put an offering to junior savers, and we concentrated on one particular school, and we set up a savings club within the school, which we call Sosban Savers, and we still run that today in this particular school as a pilot project.
Well, junior members are very, very important because getting the savings ethic in very early in people's lives is extremely important. We've got about 500 junior savers, and now I think we've got around £100,000, or not far off it, in junior savings. We offer a good rate of interest because we do want to encourage children to save and their parents to save for them. So if you get the right steps early in life, you're likely to get a basis for going forward in terms of people managing their financial affairs in later life in a proper way.
Let's see what the key challenges a credit union face.
The key challenge is basically, I think, over the next 3 or 4 years with universal credit coming in, there's going to be a lot of onus on credit unions because really there's no other way of universal credit being handled except by credit unions. The banks won't be able to handle it because just look at the simple situation that's going to be happening. You're going to have, shall we say, what is it, 37% I think is the stat at the moment of people on benefits who are extremely short of money a few days before the 2-weekly cycle of having benefits. That's right now is something like 37%. If you then multiply that by saying we're going to give you benefits monthly instead of fortnightly, and to compound that on top, we're also going to give you your landlord's rent, which might be £400 or £500 a month as well coming in. And then you're going to expect it to have the self-discipline to pay that £400 or £500 immediately across to your landlord and budget your money for a whole month. It's just asking too much of people who really haven't got that savings ethos inside themselves. So the credit unions are going to be able to handle all of that. I know Neath Talbot Credit Union are going to be able to handle it because we've got all systems in place already. So it's going to be a huge, huge challenge, and I just hope that the powers that be are going to be realistic and start looking seriously at credit unions and making sure that they fit for task when universal credit comes in.
Well, I think the key challenges are sort of economic challenges in a sense that, you know, to take the business forward, we've got to have a strict control of costs because costs, energy costs, everything's increasing continuously. And, you know, there's only so much that we can put onto the product.
The key challenges for us as a credit union is getting away from the best kept secret. Although we have quite a few members and we're very, very busy and our services are well used, it's a relatively small proportion of the local community that actually use our services. And that's what we need to get over. We need people to know that Dragon Savers is here. It's a safe place to save. It's an affordable place to borrow. You're working with other people that are living in your community. You're keeping money in this community. And that's what we really need to get over.
Along with these challenges, credit unions also rely on enthusiastic volunteers. But why?
Oh, volunteers are the bedrock of the credit union. We've got something like 50 volunteers, and we open up collection points where people can go along and put in their savings or make an application for loans in about 15 places throughout the county borough. But it's not just the volunteers. Of course, we've got some very dedicated, committed staff as well, and we work very well in partnership.
The importance of volunteers for the credit union means we wouldn't be able to operate without them. Ourselves, we only actually have 6 paid members of staff. The other 150 people are volunteers, so it goes to show we wouldn't have the service without them.
We couldn't operate without volunteers. Volunteers are the lifeblood of any credit union. We've got, I would have guessed, at least 70 volunteers, probably a lot more because we've got the juniors running the savings points in a lot of the schools for us as well.
Volunteers are very, very important to Dragon Savers. We're a very small core staff complement. There's 6 of us altogether, but that's in the equivalent of 4 full-time part-time staff. We have 116 volunteers at the moment, and they fulfil different roles. Our directors, the board of directors, are all volunteers. We have cashiers who are volunteers. We have committee members who assess loans, and our internal audit as well. And people shouldn't think just because they're volunteers that they don't know what they're doing. That's not true at all. We have very highly skilled, experienced people who have brought skills from the world of work to their volunteering, or perhaps are trying to increase their skills to get back into the world of work as well. So our volunteers we wouldn't be able to manage without volunteers.
Ultimately, all credit unions will need to be self-sustaining in order for them to be successful. Let's find out more.
Now, we've got a very good opportunity to be sustainable because we've got a lot of payroll deduction members, in the council and in the National Health Service. We've got approaching 800 members who save with us through payroll deduction. We've got a number of others who save with us through standing orders. So in many ways, we're not reliant on cash deposits into the credit union. But even with all that help in running a successful business, we've still got the challenge of moving forward from a position of, say, 10 years of public funding to one where we're going to have to be much more self-reliant in the future. But we are confident. The board of directors here is confident that it can be achieved.
This is our mobile office. As you can see, it's all fully sign written. It was a railway transit van for the staff prior to us using it for credit union. So we'll pull up in Valley communities and the members can come into the mobile office. They can transact any business out in the community, so we're a genuine community-based credit union. We're not just sat in an office in a city or a town centre. We're taking the credit union out to the public.
Well, I've come from a job where I've come from a retail background, which sort of has been taking money off people for 20 odd years, and I think this is a more ethical way of actually dealing with people. In terms of actually helping people, which we see every day, and especially the children now that they've started saving, it's a good thing to do.
Well, I suppose after 14 years of it, I wouldn't be here if I didn't enjoy doing it. We get our disappointments, not everyone is a faithful repayer of a loan. We've had lots of disappointments here, but then we've had lots and lots of things that have uplifted us and think that what we're doing is worthwhile. It's making a commitment to the community, and it's given us a lot of satisfaction.
So, as you can see, credit unions face many challenges and need the help of good people in order to thrive and grow. In doing this, they can become a vital cog in the wheel of communities everywhere. But it starts at grassroots level. What was that saying again? From little acorns